So, welcome back to Daily Transfer Update. For those that were waiting at 7 o'clock, I did explain on a stream yesterday it was going to be this afternoon. I had a few things to do, including a very important meeting this morning very early. So, here I am, and we've got three players to speak about today. We'll start off with Eric Bailly, the Manchester United centre-back. Fell out of favour under Jose Mourinho, really. But when he first came in, he was absolutely fantastic. Brilliant centre-back. Like I say, he had an injury and then he sort of had a little bit of a falling out with Jose. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to keep him, but they're looking at Harry Maguire. And if they want to fund the Harry Maguire deal, then they're going to have to sell, because he's going to cost in the region of about £85 million. That's being reported right now. Eric Bailly, they're saying about £30 million. So that'd go towards the Harry Maguire deal. Now, I'd take Eric Bailly in a heartbeat. I know he's injury prone. He's had some big injuries as well. But I think that for that sort of fee, it's cheaper than going and buying them Titty. And they're just as injury prone. This one knows the Premier League. And he's done reasonably well in the Premier League, especially when he first came here. But I think that it's less of a risk buying Eric Bailly than it is to go and buy Samuel Umtiti. Obviously, couple that in with the fact that we're linked with Saliba, we're linked with Izzo, we're linked with other centre-backs as well. I think that we could do a hell of a lot worse than buying Eric Bailly and one other. And if you add them two fees together, maybe Saliba and Bailly, it's about the sort of fee for Umtiti. So you've plugged two gaps instead of one gap. So for me, I think this is a no-brainer. I would go and get it done, and I'd get it done quick, get him on pre-season tour, and bed him into Emery's style of play, put him in there next to Socrates, and then you've got two very physical centre-backs there that don't mind the dirty side of the game. He's very comfortable on the ball as well. We've all seen him play. He can stroll out of defence, he can take a man on, he's very quick. Whether he's going to lose a yard of pace after these injuries, we're yet to see. But I think this is a fantastic deal if we can get it done. A lot of Man United fans do still rate him. They do still want to keep him. The ones I speak to especially. And they'd be gutted. I've spoke to him today. They'd be gutted if he leaves. So that, for me, sort of seals it. You know, I'd like him. I think he'd be fantastic for us. And I think that it'd slot straight in next to Socrates next season. Leave it in the comments section. Let me know, would you take Eric Bailly at Arsenal? Do you think that would be a good deal for Arsenal? Now, the second player we're going to speak about is Dani Ceballos. He is a Real Madrid midfielder, a central midfielder, and he is under contract until 2023. He's 22 years old. He's played 56 games for Real Madrid, 5 goals, 2 assists. And they're going to have to sell. They've bought 5 or 6 players in, and they've spent about 200 million euros so far. So they're going to have to sell some players. There's going to be 5 or 6 players going out of the club. He could be one of them. Now, he is under contract for another 4 seasons, so it ain't going to be cheap. We're going to be looking at about 35-40 million pound, maybe even higher, because Tottenham are linked to him. There could be a little bit of a bidding war going on there. Real Madrid could be offering him out to other clubs as well, trying to drive the price up. So this ain't going to be an easy deal to get done if there are other teams involved. But, you know, I think he'd be a good player for us. I think that he'd slot into our midfield as a first-team regular. He could take that role from Aaron Ramsey, who's obviously going off to Juventus. So I think he would slot straight in the team. Now, whether we're going to get this deal done or not, I'm not so sure. You know, like I said, there are other teams that are involved, Tottenham being one of them. They don't really want to sell him. He is a fan favourite. He is a president favourite. But at the same time, they have spent a hell of a lot of money and they've got to balance their books. Otherwise, they're going to get in serious trouble with the football authorities for financial fair play. You can't go out and spend £200 million if you're not getting any money back in for player sales. So they're going to have to sell some players. He could be one of them. And like I said, I think, again, a bit like Eric Bailly, he'd walk straight into our first team. There's a spot there for him. There's a spot there for somebody, and it could be him. Now, do I think he'd do well in the Premier League? I'm not so sure, if I'm being honest. Like I said, I think he would get a start at Arsenal. Would he hit the ground running? That's always a worry when you sign a player from overseas. Not just overseas, but from another Premier League team. But we've seen with Lucas Torreira, you know, all the reports that are coming out now that he's unhappy and he don't like the weather and you don't like this and he don't like that. You know, that's always the risk you run when you sign a player that's come from a country that's relatively hot. And obviously Madrid is hot. It's hot all year round. So, you know, plus the fact that it'd be downsizing in terms of football club. Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world and we're not. So it'd be a massive downgrade for him. And it might not be something that he wants to do. So I think this will run on for the rest of the transfer window. I do think he will leave. Whether it's to Arsenal or not, I'm not so sure. But like I said, I think this will run on and on and on for a few more weeks yet. And we shall see what happens. Again, leave it in the comment section. Let me know, would you take Dani Ceballos at Arsenal? Do you think he's good enough for the Premier League? I think he's a good player. It's just whether he could do it in the Premier League. But we shall see. Last but by no means least is Dan-Axel Zagadou. That is some name, that is. Jesus Christ, what a name. This is the Borussia Dortmund centre-back. He was previously at PSG with Unai Emery as well. He left on a free transfer to go to Borussia Dortmund. He's under contract until 2022. 20 years old. France under 20 international. And he played 15 games last season. Which isn't great, but it isn't too bad either. They've obviously got some good centre-backs there. They've just signed another one as well. They've just signed Mats Hummels back from Bayern Munich. So, is he surplus to requirements next season? I don't know. But I tell you something, if they do sell him, they're going to make profit. Because obviously they signed him on a free transfer. And they're going to make, 15, 16 million pound profit if they sell him. Now, there's a couple of clubs involved. Again, Tottenham are linked to him. We're linked to him. And this guy is a reasonably good centre-back. You know, is he good enough for Arsenal? I don't know. I don't see enough of German football to give a call on that. And I don't really know a great deal about him as an individual. What I do know is he's very quick. Again, another one who's quite physical. He's quite good in the air. But is he good enough to make that step up? The fact he couldn't hold down a starting spot all season at Borussia Dortmund worries me. It means that if he ain't good enough for Dortmund, why is he going to be good enough for us? That's how I look at it. You know, if you can't get a start in Borussia Dortmund's starting 11, and I know they did reasonably well last season, Borussia Dortmund, but you know, he only played 15 games. Yes, he might have been injured. I don't know. I don't watch that league, but 15 games for a team that are not as good as us. That's just my opinion. You know, people might disagree. People might say they're better than us, but I don't think they're better than us. They've got some fantastic players. Jadon Sancho's another one, but as a collective, they're not as good as us. So would he walk into Arsenal's team? Is he better than Mustafi? Ask yourself that question. Is he better than Mustafi? I don't know. I'm sure you guys will let me know. And again, this is another one that's going to drift on and on and on all transfer window. And probably at the end of it, he'll end up staying at Borussia Dortmund and fighting for his place. That depends on what he's been told by the manager, whether Mats Hummels is coming in to nick his spot. I'd imagine that's the case. I'd imagine Mats Hummels is going to walk straight into a starting 11 every single week. So he could be surplus to requirements. He could be an Arsenal player. I don't know. But leave it all in the comment section and let me know what you guys think on all three of them. Dan-Axel Zagadou, Eric Bailly, and Dani Ceballos. Let me know if you think all three of them should be playing for Arsenal, whether you want them at Arsenal and whether you think they're good enough for Arsenal. Leave it in the comment section. I will be back at 5 o'clock doing my live stream and again at 9 o'clock doing a second live stream. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Subscribe if you're new as well, pushing it up to 20,000 subscribers. Thank you everyone who has subscribed already. And put a like on the video if you're enjoying the content. That helps get the content out there and helps grow the channel. So thank you very much, and I will be back at 5 o'clock this evening. Laters, peeps.